What an election year is going on right now, isn't it? This is awesome! USA! USA! How come nobody's joining me? Aren't you guys excited about this election? My guess is you guys are probably thinking a lot like this, right? We're screwed either way. None of these candidates represent me. I've got to tell you, we are living in interesting times. You guys might have heard that old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. Well, we are fortunate or unfortunate to be living in just one of those times. What's going on with the election right now is absolutely awesome. Don't believe me? Let me explain. Most people are looking right in front of them and saying, oh my gosh, these candidates suck. You know, if Donald Trump becomes president, it'll be calamitous. It'll be anything but a lascivious. If Hillary Clinton wins, I'm moving to Canada. These are the same people that didn't move to Canada when Barack Obama got a second term, but they threatened it. I'm telling you, I think that the best thing that could ever happen is what's going on right now. And that is that we have something weird happen. The way our system is set up right now, it's kind of binary, right? You're either Democrat or you're Republican. Well, you can go online and take a look and find out how much Democrat you are, how much Republican you are. There's all these little tests. You might end up taking one of these tests and find out you're 57% Republican and 43% Democrat. Have you guys ever seen a bell curve? You guys are all familiar with this, right? Average person is right in the middle. Most people are right here, and then you have some people off to each side. When it comes to the Democrat-Republican thing, I am that average guy. I am right in the middle. And most people are, somewhere in that middle. You find out you are 60% one thing, 40% the other. But our candidates, where do they find? Where do they land? They're way over here on the right, or way over here on the left, right? So they're not representing you. They're not representing me. Our Congress has all-time historic low approval ratings. Why is that? It's because nobody's representing us. Most of the country is right here. But all of those guys are way, way, way over here, or way, way, way over here. And so the country is just like, why aren't you representing me? You don't represent me. So what I'm saying is, what happens when you have an electorate that is unresponsive to the needs of the people? Bad things happen. All you have to do is look at the conventions of 1860, 1924, 1968. You guys are all kind of looking at me like, what happened then, right? 1860, Democrats went in and they had 57 votes. After 57 votes, they still couldn't come to an agreement on who was going to be their candidate. So both of those guys ended up running against a guy you might have heard of, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln won, and as you can tell, since you had this contested convention, the world was going through a lot of strife. Right after that, had a little thing called the Civil War. So, kind of nasty. 1924, Ku Klux Klan started building. There was this little thing called Prohibition. So, same thing happened. After over 100 different votes, the Democrats couldn't come up with a candidate. So, ended up with riots and just nasty stuff happening. 1968, very similar. Nation was ripping itself apart, right? You had Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in the spring of that year. One of the leading candidates for the Democratic Party, Robert Kennedy, was killed June 5th, right before the convention. Now imagine that, one of your leading guys just killed. So, the world was in a nasty place. That's the only time you get these really contested conventions, something bad is going on. And right at that convention of 1968, there were Chicago riots that were being televised. It was an ugly thing. So what we're going through right now tells you that we're living in a very uncertain time, and it's a very nasty, can become a very nasty time. So what's the solution to this? Well, change. How do you get change? Organizations are very much like people, right? They're very resistant to change. It's very tough to get people to change. You need either two things to get people to change, and that is either repetition or a shock. And you can't really get the Democrat or Republican Party to have a repetition, so they need a shock to come to them, right? And so what is the best thing that can happen? We have Donald Trump coming in, a total outsider. You've got Bernie Sanders coming in, a total outsider. And hopefully, when they go into these conventions, it'll be ugly, it'll be nasty, and they will just rip each other's organizations apart. And then after both of those organizations get ripped apart, they will rebuild, and hopefully they'll rebuild into something that will be responsive to the people, and they'll work together. So I'm saying, don't tune out. Don't tune out to this election that's going on. Join in, be happy. Me, I'm sitting there with my bowl of popcorn here, and I'm just yum, 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 because this is the best thing that could ever happen to our country. Maybe not, maybe we might not get a civil war or, the civil rights changes, but hopefully it'll be something a little more lighter, like, we got to drink again, something like that happened in 1924. In this case, hopefully our politicians will work together and we'll end up saving our country through a very contentious election year.